Welcome to War of Words, presented by Habari Entertainment. I'm Aisha, and I'll be your moderator.
Mm-hmm.
Each topic will be 15 minutes. Let's get started. But first, we're going to introduce our debaters Dip, Tusso, and Daniel.
Oh
Okay.
man.
What it do?
What's going on, y'all?
What up? What up? What up? As Martin would say.
First topic up for discussion today is there a Black American culture? Let's
Does
start with you, Dip.
does Black American culture exist? I would say yes. I think that we have a deep history of American culture that we built. We didn't really have a fucking choice. We don't have any connections to Africa and the culture there. Some people do here in America still celebrate some cultures and some things that were brought from Africa, and some people still have connections to those things. But us as Americans that we are now, most of us don't have that connection. So we had to create our own culture and our own way of doing things, and I think that that culture has um, um, been passed across the planet and is one of the more used cultures or
Right.
overused cultures in the world.
Yeah.
And I think that it's taken advantage of and used by plenty other places around the world. Even Asians, they break dancing and shit.
Okay.
We got even Africans, they're into our Black American culture. I think it's the leading culture of the world. Me myself, if you want to know the truth, because we set trends, and we are the trendsetters.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't think we take advantage of the trends that we set, and I don't think that we take advantage of the culture
Definitely
that we put forward, and we don't make the money that we should be making off of all the shit that we be putting out, that we put out. But Black African American culture, man, is deep, man, and I think that we don't respect it enough because we're always looking for our history. So I think some people disrespect what we do have because we don't have that history.
Fellas?
Word.
For me, I don't necessarily think I don't think Black Americans have their own culture. To me, it's almost like Santa Claus's elves. We celebrate Santa Claus, we celebrate the reindeer, but the whole time it's the elves in the workshop who are supposedly making all the toys.
Right.
For me, Black Americans are the surrogate to American culture. We create American culture. We're
Right.
the foundation of American culture, and it's actually been that way since slavery.
Definitely.
Like if you think about all the dishes that are good down south American cooking,
It's us.
fried chicken,
Yeah.
biscuits and gravy,
It's
that
us.
all comes from the slaves in the kitchen. For so long in America, we have actually been the trendsetters, as you said. Like we've set the standard of what is quote unquote hip and what is quote unquote cool, and then American culture swoops in and they actually take credit for it.
Right.
If you think about hip hop music or even urban culture or the culture that is actually sold, it's not owned by Black people.
Right. That's real.
Most of it is being pushed to white America by white America, by white executives. We don't actually there's that everybody always says that Kanye's crazy. He had an interview not too long ago where he was actually talking about that in hip hop we don't own anything.
Right.
We pretty much start everything. Like if you think about bootylicious, like how it ended up in the dictionary, how much slang has actually been
Yeah.
used in mainstream media.
Definitely.
Now. We have the Queen's English, we have American English, and I like to say we have the freed slaves English.
Yeah.
Which, because I don't like using Ebonics because it's come so much to the forefront in American culture that you can even hear English teachers and like you watch the news and you hear people like white newscasters
Yeah.
using Ebonics
They
now
definitely
as
do.
it is commonplace.
Definitely. It's coming.
So I think that we actually
Ridiculous.
we're the creators of American culture. We carry it, we make sure we test it. Once it has been approved, then America as a whole comes in and actually takes
So
Black culture.
you
and
don't think
puts
that
it as American
there's a
culture.
separation between the cultures? You think that it's just American culture, that our culture is being stolen, so it's just it equals out to just
And
being
you
American.
can't necessarily say it's being stolen as well, because if you think about the black psyche, most of us actually come up trying.
It's
to,
not being stolen.
I'm not totally. What I'm saying is, if you think about the mind state of most black Americans, like from slavery, it's been put in our heads that we're supposed to acclimate. We're supposed to join into American society. So part of our minds is actually trying to conform into white culture, but white culture itself, as I said, is based in black culture. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like, does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know, bro. I don't know if we try to form to in certain ways, yeah.
We
It's
have
like the
culture.
Jeffersons, like we're moving on up. We're
right.
moving to the Upper East Side. Like
Right, you're right.
the American dream, like even for black America, is to attain stability. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To move to the burbs, is not.
Now,
That's what we're doing.
the question is, do African Americans have a culture? Yeah, we have culture, but we don't control our culture. We don't have no control of
That's
our
real.
culture.
That's real.
Anyway, I don't care any people that say, "Oh, we're independent." You still don't have to control your culture because we don't run. We don't run hip hop. I mean, if you go to if you even look up breakdancing right now, you're gonna see white boys doing it.
And
Asians doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest pop blocking group right now in America, breakdancing is Wobble. What they call Wobblies?
Jabberwockies.
They're the biggest one right now.
That's what they're Asian
So
cats, white
anything
boys.
that we ever created, culture wise, has gotten taken from us.
Yeah.
Or
Even back to slavery days, we got taken from our land. So anything that we create has been taken from us. So do we have culture? Yeah, we create. We always create culture, and they take it from us, and they take control. So we really don't have any culture.
But sometimes, is it
Name
necessary
something
that
that we
they
own.
take it from us? Because
we
a lot
take
of
it
time you actually see us give it up.
Well, nowadays we give it up.
Yeah.
Because it's about that almighty dollar.
Money.
Yeah, right. Capitalism.
So I mean, right now it's we don't even, as artists, don't even own their masters. Lil Wayne just sold his masters for $100 million. Well, a lot of artists, if you don't know, that's not nothing new to me, because right now a lot of artists are selling their masters for 5-year deals.
Yeah, what he selling for? $100 million?
Lil Wayne sold this for $100 million.
I mean that's cool, but now he don't have power over his money,
You don't have
over his
anything.
music. That's
But this is not nothing new, because you have artists that sign their masters away for I'm gonna sign you. They can own it for 5 years,
Right.
And they're gonna make all this money. You
Dog,
don't get a dime.
think about it. Why would they pay you
So you don't own
$100 million for your masters? Obviously, they're going to make 5 times that.
Exactly. So it's all about the money.
Right.
Nowadays, earlier
They
times
wouldn't pay you that if they weren't going to make
Yeah.
make 5 times that.
Yeah, earlier times it was just taken from us.
Right.
Straight up jack move.
Right.
Like
From-
American culture is like the slave inventor. You know what I'm saying? The slaves
gin.
back then, like they could create, like you said, the gin mill. We could do whatever we wanted with peanuts, but we weren't the actual people getting credit.
Right.
No.
You know what I'm saying? There was always somebody who actually stood at the head of that corporation who was actually taking credit for all the work that we
Right.
did.
That's like the black man who created the telephone, but Alexander
Yeah.
Graham Bell bought
Right.
it. He sold it to him, so he gets all the.
Yep.
Did he actually sell it to him, or did
we-
he
He
just
sold
take
it to him. He
We
sold
can
the
even
patent
take
to
that
him.
back, you know.
But it was for $30,000. I think it was something.
Yeah, if we're
something
talking about
stupid.
if we're talking about music culture as well, I mean, go back to Elvis.
Right. Almost every single genre.
I mean, if you even watch some of the movies, it shows that what's the one where Eddie Murphy was in? They end up taking his song and having a white person slow it down.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You saw that in 5 Heartbeats. You saw
Yeah,
that
so
in his
it's
movie.
not.
Yeah.
We get jacked. It's a straight up jack move. We don't even the black companies are not black companies.
Right.
So it's
Didn't Shea Butter end up selling?
yeah, they're all. You know what I'm saying? I mean, black products, hair products, is not black owned.
Right.
And they lock those up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So no, we don't. We create
special section.
we create the culture that runs the world.
Right.
Black. I'm
And
not.
that's-
Let's
yeah.
keep it real.
It's
Black
not just
Americans. This is it. Black
Yeah.
Americans run the culture around the world
Like this
because
thing
we're
is
heavy
Asian.
influence.
Yeah.
It's in our nature,
Right.
but we don't own that shit.
No.
Like
don't
think
run that
about
shit.
Asia when they're over there in Asia now wearing
Yeah.
cornrows and
Yeah.
big afros
And what they doing?
Out kits.
They're kicking the black people out of that
Yeah.
motherfucker.
The kicking the Africans out.
So
and they do
yeah.
not like black people. So
no, they don't. They like our style though.
they definitely
You know what
they
I'm
like
saying?
everything else. Yeah, that's definitely a problem. I don't know, man. We've lost so much that I think that we have to figure out a way to gain our culture back and get a hold of what we can control.
I don't necessarily think that it's get our culture back. I think that we actually need to establish ourselves as a community.
Yeah.
Like we
Well,
need
that's
to
kind of what I
culturally like embed ourselves into our community. Like if you look at Russians when they come over here, or the Asian community, or even the African community, or if you go down to Florida, the Haitians, the Jamaicans, or the Cubans. Their culture is embedded in their lifestyle. Almost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can feel it when you walk into those neighborhoods.
Right.
Like southwest side of Houston is mostly an Asian side of Houston. But when you're driving down the southwest side of Houston, it's to the point where they're now actually, you have the American name. It might be Bissonnette Avenue. But then
they
you
put in
also,
Asian
then
also.
you have the Asian name
Right.
underneath that street sign.
But we can't have that because we don't even know our heritage like that.
Right.
We can have a black community, but it's not like the Asian town or Chinatown. My bad.
Because like if you go to those
Chinatown.
neighborhoods, also like even the police are Asian. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like every
Yeah.
store you go to is Asian. Like the police are Asian, the construction workers, like everybody's Asian.
Yeah.
But then if you think about that, like that also cuts down on the police violence, on
Yeah.
the harassment, on the stereotyping.
Right.
Us as Black Americans, we all stay in the same community, but there's no real unity. There's no. Even though we do create American culture, we do not create a culture for ourselves to
To take advantage
We're our own
of.
competition.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Then we're
yeah.
our own competition. Exactly. And that's definitely.
And
a
that's
huge
another
problem.
thing I wanted to say. Like if we start a business, like I like how Dame talks. I liked how Dame talks. You know, starting his own business. But if you actually look at Dame's employees,
Yeah.
they're white. So Dame can talk all that shit he wants.
Right.
He's not hiring black people to do all that shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, but if you hire, it's not. I'm not into the business of just hiring black people because that's like some discrimination type of shit.
Right.
But majority of your employees, if you're talking that talk,
Yeah.
where's the black employees?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Where's the black assistants? Where's the black creative directors?
Right.
He don't have that.
Right.
So we need to. I mean, it's a trend right now where black business is definitely it's headed in a direction, but it's still. I think that's just the forefront of what it is not really showing.
Right.
You know.
And then we also have we're doing hair. We have these hair products. We have the weave. And we're doing all these styles the women are doing, and they have no control over any of these products.
How many are they actually buying from Black producers and Black
No.
companies? Though?
Nope.
No. And that's the problem
It's
is
all-
that I was watching a couple, I think it was Good Hair, it was one of those productions where they went into it, how hard it is to get distribution through these companies, because the Asians, they have the markets locked up, or the Indians have the markets locked up, and they can't get in, and they won't let them get into distribution because they're like, nah, we don't want you to have your own distribution.
Right.
You have to get your distribution from us.
Would that
they
be a
locked
cultural,
it.
like, would that be a business culture thing within the Asian community
Yes.
that the Black people lack, that we do not have the supply chain set up?
Right.
To actually
That's the
be
problem.
self-sufficient?
We don't have the
Yes.
supply chain set up. We don't have the partnerships and the businesses relationships set up with these countries to be able to go over there and create the shit ourselves, to be able to create our own distribution with these people in partnerships. We have to worry about the middleman. It's always this middleman with us.
But there are black people that is in that business with no ties. We need to focus on them and help them grow.
Right.
If we don't, then you're gonna run into those roadblocks.
Right.
But we don't care about that.
Yeah. No, people are not, like I say all the time. We know when we're spending black, because we always put that in a pot. Or I spent black today and he did this. That's why I ain't spending. But we go to Walmart. I just went to Walmart. You know,
And
we
get
don't,
done dirty
right.
every single time.
and they don't care. Oh, Walmart did me dirty.
And don't make a single
But we'll
post
blame
about
the
how
whole
they
black
get treated.
race
No.
for one black person making a mistake at a store you went to. Now you online talking about black people don't know how to do.
I
And
think that
it's just-
we're a little bit more critical on ourselves than as we would be as if we walked into a bigger establishment.
Right, and those things need to stop. They need to stop. Not everyone does it, but too many do it, and I hate it. I hate it. Don't blame us all, man. We all trying to do something. A lot of these people doing business right, and you blaming us all, putting us all in one pot. And then that's like when Tim C was just saying. Then people talk down your product. They don't want to pay $7 for your drinks at this place, but they'll go pay $15 at the white person's place.
Right.
So it's definitely a cultural thing that needs to change.
Different in a white establishment,
Right?
than they would in a black establishment.
You need to put,
It's almost like we give away the best parts of our culture, and we keep the low down. But it's like the lowest parts are what are attributed to us. Like we don't get credit for like the dancing. We don't get credit for the music. We don't get credit for all the sensational stuff that we do.
Can't even sue nobody for that shit.
But then everything that is a negative connotation on our culture is actually what is attributed to us. Like that's what is highlighted for us.
But who's putting the negative on our culture?
Yeah.
Who's putting it on us?
We do.
Yes. That's who putting the negative.
We do. And I mean, just like I was.
Yes.
We're the one that downgraded ourselves.
But for like almost 20 years, like we have been forced these visuals. Like coming up, like we like that's the part of like us giving our culture away and then somebody else controlling it.
Right.
Because once we gave our culture away, like they took the gang banging part of the 80s and 90s and they just forced that back to us.
Right. That's true.
And that's what they
did they force that back to us, or is it a person? The person is forcing that back to us, or it's just showing that. I can't blame.
Okay, so do you think this is where affirmative action comes in? Is it necessary? Is it not?
That's all you.
I think that is actually a growing issue. Like that's not a stagnant topic. I would say in the 80s and 90s it was more necessary than it is now. When I first got out the Army, like I used to have this like thing in my head. Like I used to be not intimidated or scared, but I used to feel some type of way about older white men. Like going into job interviews, like in my head, I had already like been denied every single time I walked in, and like it actually reflected like I wasn't getting jobs. And in my head, I'm like, these racist ass.
Well, yeah,
right.
You know what I'm saying? But now it doesn't seem as. I think these days more people don't want to be labeled as a racist or have that stigma over their head.
No, especially white people.
You know, from how I was raised, I thought every damn white person was racist, man.
Right.
I thought every white person was racist. But I experienced racist stuff in my life. Even at my job, I'm not even gonna say where I work at. I feel some type of discrimination and racist going on at my job. Like I'm like one or two black people that work there, and I wear my little beanie. You know what I'm saying? And they look at me a certain way. I know it is. Somebody told me, they look at you like a thug or something. You know what I'm saying? You working here. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. It's just that's just. I don't think. I don't know how I feel about that.
I would think that it needs to be updated.
Can you though? Can you update those laws, especially in these type times? You can't really.
I had read something this week.
Right.
It was talking about the reason societies have so much issue with change is because they're always trying to update a current policy or a current ideal instead of actually sitting down and just creating something totally brand new. With affirmative action, I think it addresses the issue, but I think the issue actually in the workplace has evolved. So it's not so much as like actually getting a job, but there is still, like you said, there are still certain things as a black person that you do deal within the workforce. Like I have a guy that I work with who never talks to me. He doesn't even look at me. And I walk by him, and every single time I walk by him, he looks immediately at his feet, or he's up here. He never makes eye contact.
Right.
Yeah.
So you do feel you feel racist pressure in the workforce, and I don't care where you work. You're gonna feel that at some point in time.
Even my job is showing us like training classes on how not to discriminate and racial stuff.
Right.
I'm like, but y'all do this shit every day. You know what I'm saying? Y'all showing me some training stuff and not judging people and all that. But like
that's what they do
every day up in this company. So,
but do you think that it hurts prospects for getting jobs, for getting opportunities? Do you think you get hired in places because you are black?
No.
Do you think you get opportunities just because
you're
black?
No.
Because even with affirmative action, you walk into most of these places and there's still mostly other than black people working there.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Has affirmative action helped the black community? Is it keeping our unemployment lower or higher than any other race, which is still the lowest? So obviously,
it hasn't helped
it's
or
not
anything.
helping
I
us.
think also at the back end of affirmative action, because from my understanding, affirmative action, you have to keep so many black people on your payroll,
So many-
have so
it's-
many
it's
in the company, and
Really
or
and
at least-
truly, it's helped white women more than any
Yeah.
other demographic.
Yeah, I don't think it did anything.
It's helped white women the most.
Right,
And
well, yeah.
they are the
But in
most,
most cases,
against
with-
it.
That's facts.
How has it helped white women more?
It is.
Well, I mean, they're up.
Let me say, I don't want to read it all, but
So pretty much they have to meet a quota, correct? On the white women's side, pretty much because they have to keep so many minorities, they use those numbers to actually fill those positions. But I was gonna say the way affirmative action it has partially helped the black community, but at the same time it has inhibited us the same way because some companies only hire that many people, and that's their excuse. Well,
Yeah, that's the thing.
I've legally
so
It hasn't really did anything.
these
to
are.
me.
This is from a 1999 report by the California Senate Government Organization Committee found that white women held a majority of managerial jobs
Yes.
compared with African American, Latinos, and Asians. So basically,
That's true.
they have grown into the ownership and leadership positions more than the other demographics.
That's true.
So it has helped them since the law has been passed more than any other.
I believe that was the last 10 years of me working different jobs. There's always
Women.
a woman.
Yeah,
ahead of everything.
women has definitely
They're
rose in when it comes to the private sector, when it comes to jobs and CEO positions.
right.
I haven't
They are
seen,
not as large as they should be,
yeah.
but they definitely
I
have.
seen one. I had one black manager in the last 10 years, but lots of motherfucking women.
Yeah.
And they,
But also, just because they are getting more of them jobs, I don't want it to get confused that because there still is the pay gap.
Yeah, they definitely do have a
And that
gap.
might be
I haven't
that,
seen- I
that
haven't seen
also
the pay
might
gap.
be the reason why they're getting those manager positions over
but the
black
pay
males
gap
because you
the
still
pay gap is
the big ass still exists.
the pay gap is
They do?
based off
I don't
white.
see all
It's,
that.
it's
I've
being
seen them
compared
getting
to
money.
white men though. It's not comparing them to black people.
No, but that's
So-
what I'm saying. That's actually why they probably actually give those positions.
No, that's why they're getting them.
because they can pay them less than they would actually have to pay a black man.
Nah, I don't know. I think the affirmative action is
I mean,
helping
I got
women
my
a
eyes
lot
open
more.
for where?
But they do get paid less per
They do.
dollar in this situation.
Oh, I'm like, they get money.
As a overall like
Overall?
Yeah, overall. Women make less money.
To me, I don't think it exists no more.
Yeah, man.
you think it's a myth. Like
I think that's a
racism?
myth.
Yeah.
I don't think racism is a myth.
Well, you got to think about it though. Women were really held out of a lot of these positions, man, in the 1960s, 50s,
Oh, yeah.
70s, and you got to think about the strides that they made since then.
Right.
I mean, right now, they talking about 6 million women overall had advances at their job that would have not been possible without affirmative action.
Oh, yeah.
The percentage of women physicians tripled between 1970 and 2002, and that's probably not true for us as a whole. And for them as a women, the demographic it is. So if the affirmative action and you talk to a racist, they're going to tell you it's helped black people. And you're here because you're affirmative action hire. I mean, they don't really know that it really hasn't.
Well, you're not
I
gonna say
get that
you never
number.
know until you're in somebody's shoes, like they say,
Right.
what it is. But
I mean, I feel that. But I also think that gender bias is not as bad
no,
now
it's not definitely
as racial bias.
Yeah, gender bias. That's a rumor too.
That's like
Well, gender
totally
bias
different.
it's an issue, but I don't.
That's an
think
issue, but it's not. I don't think it's a huge.
It's not
No.
as big as a problem as racism.
I think.
but I don't want to fight. Have the conversation.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
You
That's
know,
a totally different topic.
Right,
about
but-
Okay,
what
let's
actually
add it. Let's
happened
add
with
it in
women's
there.
suffrage. And,
Yeah, man. Right.
Like who actually
No, they
benefited
had to-
from
they
women's
had to,
suffrage and
definitely.
the way that it's split and the way that a certain group was taken advantage of.
They definitely were taken
And
advantage of.
It actually attributes to this topic because, as you say, that white women are the ones who mostly benefit from
Yeah, I'll
from
see.
affirmative action. But if you think about like the end of the civil rights movement for black people actually was brought on by the women's suffrage.
Right, because we watch what them
Not
marching
just
to
that,
vote and
but when those white ladies came across the line, when they went back across, they took a lot of black women. And then it didn't become about black civil rights, and it didn't become about black rights. It was women's rights.
Women's rights, yeah.
Which, in essence, it was kind of confusing to me because black women hadn't even gained their human rights yet.
right.
Yeah.
They weren't even considered a human yet. Went out there marching
Well,
with women, with white women who were actually considered humans.
Right.
They had them go against their men.
Exactly. So then, white women did benefit. They got into the workplace, and a lot of them end up going back home. Like, we got our rights, and they still were homemakers. But
Yeah,
then
facts.
A lot of black women went into the workplace, but they weren't getting paid as much. They were getting more jobs than the black men were getting. But again, with
And
the
then lost some of their
affirmative
money.
action, with these quotas and these numbers that they had to reach, with these employers, they were like, we have these black women, we got 2 black men on the payroll, and we have all the rest of these women. Like, we're covered with affirmative action. So against black men, affirmative action actually was held against us because they only had to reach the quota.
Right.
They only had to do the least amount.
There's no quota that says you got to have men. You just have to have a certain mix
of
minorities. As long as you have a certain amount of women, certain amount of it doesn't have to be men at all. And unfortunately, we
I feel
haven't.
like it hasn't made a difference.
It hasn't made a
It
difference for the black man. Definitely. I don't think so.
Because then also if you take into account of management positions, like even though women do, like there's more women that have been benefited by
we seeing from the books, right?
But management, there's still like upper management and CEO level, executive level positions in these companies are still not filled by women.
They're not filled
or minority.
But more are filled
Actually,
by women
Starbucks
than
just hired their first black CEO of a Fortune,
Okay, did they?
of a Fortune 500.
right.
I have a
That's what I'm
question.
saying.
Okay.
So it's
Yeah, we can
more
do that.
women getting these positions
Okay.
than black men.
There's a lot of people of color getting these big jobs now. Are they do let's keep it real now, man. Like let's keep it real. Are they doing that just naturally? Or are they actually doing that shit now because the whole thing with the riots and race being the issue? Are they like, oh, we gotta change this? Hey, we're gonna drop you down to this position and put you up
I think that
just for the
I think that
for the look?
everything is about money, and I think that these companies see the demographic is switching in America.
They want to profit off of that.
You have to, dog. That's what America is about. It's
that's
about
the dumb
capitalism.
shit. Just do it natural.
That's what America
is
is
it
about.
switching,
my
or
dude.
are we actually getting real time analytics now?
No, man. It's I really believe that
Things ain't
the
changing, man.
demographics are switching in America, and these
I think
companies
the
see
black
that.
dollar has always
And-
been the most powerful dollar in the
It
country.
is.
I just don't think they ever wanted to tell us that.
Well, now
That's
they
true,
have
too.
now that it's coming true, so they have to make sure
Right.
that they have representation on their company, or they know their company is not going to get that dollar, and they are doing what they have to do to get that representation. Companies are changing their logos. America is changing.
I don't think most change doesn't come naturally.
Maybe
No,
they scared.
change comes from money.
Not just that, like you
fear.
have to be uncomfortable.
Fear of losing money. For real.
I'm saying we don't know. It's about black
I don't
culture.
think there would
We
have
don't
been
know
a
how much
natural
power we have,
transition.
man.
I don't
No,
think it was
right, we
possible
don't.
For a
We don't know.
natural transition into the all-inclusive world that everybody like. So
And
it wouldn't
Hispanics
matter-
too. And Hispanics don't know how much power they have.
They don't.
It wouldn't have mattered if the riots and George Floyd wouldn't happen this year. Say if it was just Biden getting elected and all of a sudden they started changing, it would still feel unnatural. Still feel like it was being forced on us. Even if there was no conflict going on right now, if they all of a sudden they just started putting all these black women in CEO positions, everybody would be like, "Bro, what are they doing?"
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't like, when stuff like this pops up. I say, okay, now let's see what happens in the next 2 years or 2 or 3 years.
Let's see what they do.
And that's the real look.
Right.
Right.
That's the
right.
real look.
Right.
This right here is mirage, you whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's check the next 2-3 years. That's what the world really
Like
looks
if
like.
you're gonna keep it up, like,
Yeah.
or if this is just
this
like
is-
a ploy.
Yeah, you had the George Floyd thing going on. You have voting this year and last year as well because it's prepping for it.
Right.
So, like I said, next 2-3 years, we'll see what the world really looks like. What America is really about.
Definitely. And
I'm a rebel, goddammit.
that should wrap up the show tonight. My bad.
Can't speak at all. So
No, I was gonna cuss for
thank
some
you,
reason. I don't know
fellas,
why.
for coming out, participating with us. We'll be back next week.
Mm-hmm.
More of War of Words.
War word.
Yup.
And quick man, shout out to We Shine Detailing, Butch's Wings and Things, and Habari Entertainment. Anybody else I'm missing?
$1 Million Teacher Project.
$1 Million Teacher Project, and everybody that supports and keeps the light on for the shows. Right on next week
We appreciate y'all.
for sure.